Sean Baker recently, in his Oscar acceptance speech for Anora, talked about the extreme importance of watching movies in the cinema. He pointed out the communal experience that can't be replicated at home, and that movie theaters are struggling to stay open. Also, real quick, if you like horror movies, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I am working on a video about John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness, which I will be releasing next week, so please subscribe so you don't miss that video. But yes, watching new movies at the cinema is incredibly important, but I also think watching older movies can be a fantastic experience. Maybe you're rewatching a movie or experiencing a masterpiece for the first time. It can really change or enhance the way that you perceive a movie simply by watching it in that communal experience. The first movie on my list is John Carpenter's The Thing. This is a film that you've likely heard from your friends who are into science fiction or horror movies, that this is one of the greatest body horror science fiction movies ever made. And they are not wrong. This movie is extremely popular and renowned for a reason. It has some amazing practical effects that have held up really, really well. It is a masterclass of suspense and storytelling, and it plays out like a whodunit with a science fiction body horror. Also, because this movie is so incredibly popular, it means that watching it in a crowded cinema, chances are you're going to be surrounded by a lot of people who are huge fans of this movie. But you could also be sitting in the cinema with people who have no idea what's happening and don't actually know the ending. They don't know the twists and the turns, and that makes it exciting. It's all about the crowd reactions with this film. Plus, and you're going to hear this a few times during this video, this movie has some amazing sound design and music, and is definitely worth experiencing in the cinema for the surround sound alone. Next up is Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Now you might be thinking, this is a weird pick, and you are correct. Because this movie is a B-grade science fiction horror movie that you probably don't think deserves a cinema experience. But you would be dead wrong. This movie has some amazing gags, special effects, and the actors are way more committed than they should be for a movie about invading killer clown aliens that have come down to planet Earth. It's got a twisted sense of humor about this movie, and it's definitely worth watching in a crowded cinema full of people who are maybe not expecting what this film might be about, or they've never seen it, or maybe they're huge fans of this movie. This is a cult classic for a reason. So if you see this movie playing at your local cinema, I recommend heading out, reserving your seats, and just diving into this completely bonkers piece of cinema. Next up is Gremlins, the cult classic family-friendly question mark film about a tiny, cute creature who spawns into a bunch of horrible little monster creatures and takes over a small town in America. Like many people, I adore this movie for its practical effects work, its cheesy humor, and, of course, all the violence in the movie, especially when the Gremlins meet their demise. Gremlins is a film that brings people together, and for many people, it was probably their gateway into the horror genre, so of course, they want to share it with their friends and their family. Plus, it's technically considered a Christmas movie, meaning it is the perfect film to go and watch in December. So hopefully your local cinema plays this one. It's a great fun time. Usually you'll find the session packed with families who are there just to experience the carnage in a family-friendly way. Really, this movie does blur the lines quite a bit, but it is just a fantastic viewing experience, and I recommend it to anybody out there who is a fan of Gremlins or a fan of just cheesy horror movies with little cute creatures and puppets. Look, I love Gremlins. Any excuse I have to watch it, especially in the cinema experience, I'm going to take. Next up is Evil Dead. Yes, Sam Raimi's original low-budget horror movie that started the cliche of the cabin in the woods. A truly remarkable movie that has its place in horror history and film history. If you are a budding filmmaker, chances are you know about Evil Dead. It's 100% worth experiencing this film in a crowded cinema to replicate the experience of when it first came out. This is a movie that sent shockwaves through the zeitgeist and pop culture when it initially released. It was banned in so many countries, and people were very upset when it hit cinemas. So it's really cool to almost replicate that experience, that part of cinema history, to sit in a cinema and experience this movie together with a bunch of other people who are very into horror. It's an experience unlike no other. Plus, this movie has some meticulous sound design. Some eerie soundscapes were created for this movie, and it's worth experiencing in the cinema for the surround sound experience. Plus, this film has some very, very awesome practical effects that have dated very, very well, and so it's worth experiencing it on the big screen. And finally, Suspiria by Dario Argento. Of course, I had to choose an Italian movie that used Goblin in their soundtrack. If you don't know who Goblin are, they are this prog rock band who worked very closely with a lot of Italian directors during the 80s. But look, the original Suspiria is such a treat to experience on the cinema screen. With its surreal music, its haunting cinematography, and all-round masterclass of suspense that will leave a lasting impact on you. This movie was made with the cinema in mind, like all the other movies on this list, but Suspiria is just such a pretty film to look at. Its cinematography is out of this world. This is a dark, twisted fairy tale that is just full of surreal, nightmarish vision that will likely leave an impact on you. It's got murder, it's got suspense, and it's just got this beautiful aesthetic, but it probably will. The chances are high that it will give you nightmares. So that is my list of horror movies worth seeing on the big screen. Please let me know down in the comments below, what are some of the best experiences you've had watching horror movies in the cinema? Were they old? Were they new? Let me know. And like I said earlier, please hit that subscribe button. It is free, and if you like horror movies, this is the place to be. Please keep watching movies, stay creative, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.